Settle in right now. It is time for the Hodge Pack Sports and everything in between with Josh, Misty, and Hodge. Going live, three, two, one. Good morning and welcome to the Hodge Pack Sports Life and everything in between right here on 106.9 The Country Giant. Misty, Josh, and Hodge here rocking and rolling, getting ready to, as I posted on our Facebook page, giddy up on into the weekend, Super Bowl weekend, the big game, NFL awards given out last night, Hall of Fame given out, Hall of Fame snubs, maybe, I don't know, and what the Luca has happened in Dallas. We've got a jam-packed show for you as we do get you set for the Super Bowl. All things Super Bowl, everything that we feel like the storylines, our picks, how you have a good time when it comes to the Super Bowl. We've got a great guest list for you, kind of like Super Bowl weekend, but a little different. We got Super Bowl champion and Hall of Famer Graham Harrell, new offensive coordinator of the AC Wildcats, will be here, but also the guy that's been the helm of the Wildcats the last 3 years and heading into its fourth season, head coach Keith Patterson will join us at the bottom of the hour and talk all things new draft, new signing class, bringing on Graham, what the season was like, because Misty, Josh, we kind of got to be a part of this run of what ACU football was this year, a very historical year, obviously the first great successful year of Division I football, and so we got a lot to talk about. Baseball signings, Josh, the trades, all the things happening. How are we this morning?
Excellent.
It sounded a little too
Excellent.
enthusiastic.
Oh,
Well, I mean,
I'm sorry.
It's
I'm
foggy
excellent.
outside.
I'm excellent.
Misty doesn't let the fog bother her.
No,
I mean,
it's I'm the owner of the fun house. Remember?
you are. So I do have a question for you. I did it, in my time driving here. Not that I thought of Misty too, but I thought about you, Josh. You had a lot longer foggy drive coming in out from the
Yes,
Ponderosa.
It was very misty.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, real downer.
Rude.
No,
That is her love language.
I was actually very surprised with how cool it was because it was warm yesterday and I knew it was supposed to be. And I looked at the weather; it's still supposed to be in the 80s today. Yeah. And I put on a short sleeve shirt and it's like it's cold outside.
I mean, I don't even have pants on today, so I'm hoping it warms up.
Yeah, it's supposed to. It's supposed to be like 90 tomorrow, then like 57 the high. February is going to come back. Like winter took a little vacation, is going to pop back in for a little bit for the week.
It's normal.
Right.
Do
you think this is normal though?
It's a little,
80, 90 is not.
It's a little on the warm side, but I do know that every February there's this point where you're like, man, it's like getting warm. It's like it has spring come early and then it gets colder.
Yeah.
But I think, and I may be wrong. Again, we're going to have Graham Harrell on, who played in Super Bowl 45, which was played at Jerry World, which was played in not Snowmageddon that we experienced in 21, but the weather was awful, ice, sleet, hard to get to the stadium. Jerry sold seats that were like obstructed view, didn't exist, all those things that happened. And I think if Jerry in Dallas and Arlington could have had weather like this that weekend, they might have got another Super Bowl since 2011, 2012. But just it's wild on what the weather is like, and but it's good. It's nice. It's you can get shorts and then get ready to get your jacket out for the next week. But we do need rain, so we definitely need some rain pretty soon.
It keeps on not happening when they forecast it. It doesn't happen.
Well, I'm hoping we can see some of that this coming week. But it is Super Bowl week. We'll talk a lot of Super Bowl in the 8 o'clock hour as we get you ready for Super Bowl 59. It is in New Orleans. They had the awards last night. We'll talk about those. I think they got some of them right. I think they got plenty of them right. The Hall of Fame inductions were announced as well. We'll talk about those. But it is time for our Lawrence Hall Headline Report. And we cannot start the Lawrence Hall Headline Report without basically 2 weeks in a row where breaking news comes out of Dallas that I think none of us expected to happen. I don't think any of us expected Shoddy to be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Done. And then last Saturday, about, again, one of those school board meetings that happened at night that they finally made the decision. And Luka Doncic, who generational talent, probably one of the top 3 to 5 players in the league at 25 years old, gets traded to the Los Angeles Lakers for Anthony Davis, and pretty much people, including our buddy Zach, who was on just a couple weeks ago as a guest host, filling in, absolutely lost his mind up in here.
It was astonishing. If you think about not just basketball, but any major sport, that's equivalent of the Angels trading Mike Trout, right when he was coming up for his contract extension, instead of trying to move forward. You just don't see that level of talent typically move, especially via trade. And it's not even just like you mentioned about replacing a player on the floor or what the team's going to do going forward. And really, even if it makes the team better in the long run, because like it was fan base altering. Like the stats of like how many millions of followers they lost on like Instagram just instantly.
Yeah, it was like 700,000, like within a very short amount of time.
And the other crazy part about it is they trade Luka, and they come back with Anthony Davis is no slouch. He is a good player. He's having one of his better seasons. But the whole deal was Luka was a heavy-set fella.
Yeah.
Maybe not in great shape, not playing defense. And so they said, well, Anthony Davis has had a track record. Charles Barkley used to call him street clothes Anthony Davis because he was always hurt. Now he's not right now. And you look at, okay, Kyrie and Anthony Davis, and if Klay Thompson, can they make a run? And this Nico Harris guy, you better hope you're right on this. And it's one of those, I want to try to win with the next few years. I want to win now. I'm like, you don't think you can do that with Luka? It just blew my mind that you would trade a guy that most people thought would be the next Dirk as far as overseas player, stay there their whole career, probably have a statue out front just like Dirk, and instead you get shipped off. And it kind of tells you that guy, he takes his, I don't know if it's his standards, if it's his what he thinks takes to win too hard, that you ship off Luka to LA.
I'm just shocked. No, I was in complete shock. I just feel like the Dallas Mavericks now, I mean, to me, which I grew up a San Antonio Spurs fan, so I'm not like on the bandwagon of the Mavs, but obviously,
You're probably beneficial.
But
I mean, I know like Evan Harris, he's very beneficial.
I mean, yeah, and Evan posted like, about the Spurs, like, but so for me, it wasn't such a huge blow because again, I'm a Spurs fan. But just the franchise, I was shocked. And to me, it's like they just lost their luster big time. And I'm curious to see how LeBron and Luka are gonna be able to play together because they both want the ball. So I don't know. This is just so weird. I know that LA probably wants Luka to be kind of take over that maybe franchise.
Well, I'm sure they're hoping the passing of the torch happens.
Right, but I don't know. Like his pictures came out in the jerseys, and I'm like, bleh, like he just looks terrible in yellow.
Well, it doesn't help that 77 is the lineman number.
Yeah,
in the NFL.
It looks like
but he just looks like he doesn't belong. It's weird.
Another thing that I felt like was funny, just in how shocking it was, is the reporter, and forgive me for not remembering his name, but who initially dropped the story.
He's the new Woj for ESPN, Sham something.
Yes. He said that he posted that on X and started getting texts from people saying like, "Hey man, your X has been hacked."
Oh yeah.
Like, because it was such a shocking thing that no one even believed that it was true. Like, and that was my initial thing. Was like, surely this was some sort of like
you checked to make sure it wasn't April 1st and not February 1st.
Right.
Yes.
And then because that also is the whole thing, like the return for it is what also seems strange for me. It's Anthony Davis, you mentioned, is a good player, but he's definitely on the downhill.
Yeah.
And then they get a first round draft pick in 2029. Like,
Yeah.
that's a long ways away.
Well, and for Luca, I think I saw, and y'all probably know this number, but over like $100 million that he's lost.
Because he can't get signed to Supermax.
Right.
The only way you get a Supermax is if you sign with the team that drafted you.
Yeah, but I'm like, oh my gosh,
And I put this out there, and I think I might have texted Josh this. The NBA, I think, needed this drama.
Oh, of course.
Because just last week, Adam Silver was talking about maybe we need to shorten the game to get a better viewership on TV. I mean, they're still making money. They're selling out arenas and all that thing. But their attention, I mean, if you think about it, the NFL is now taking over Christmas. I mean, they're going to bring games on Christmas Day now, and you don't think as it gets closer to the weekend, they had one on Wednesday, for crying out loud. So now they're even being pushed aside from a attention getter. I mean, the WNBA is making bigger splashes on the bag, on my cup, from the place across the street. You can get an Angel Reese double quarter pounder Mac, whatever. And so I think the NBA needed this. Jimmy Butler drama off the court. I don't show up. I don't go to practice. I want my joy back and all these things when it comes to his trade. He gets traded to the Warriors. I think they needed this drama to just bring a little attention to the association. And maybe I'm wrong because we're not huge NBA coverage people. We'll talk about it when the Mavs were on their run. We talk about it. This is here because you know as well as I do. In a few weeks, we're going to start looking at what is Caitlin going to do? What is Angel Reese going to do? I mean, those are the things that have been drawing attention more than the NBA. And I heard Kendrick Perkins, Texas guy, legend in the game from Texas high school basketball, went on to play for the Celtics, won the championship. And he thought the same thing, just an absolute made no sense trade. But I do think the NBA needed this for a little bit of attention.
Well, I think any league would relish any opportunity for something that's not a, I mean, if you're a Spurs, or a Mavs fan, this is a negative, but this is not, somebody murdered somebody or something,
Yeah.
I think any league would take headline robbing, top of the page, leads every sports show moment. Every sport would love that.
I mean, this has everybody scratching their head.
Well, I mean, it was leading. I mean, and again, I listened to a lot of Unsportsmanlike during the week, and I listened to some of the ticket as well. But it's Super Bowl week, and it drew attention away from the Super Bowl to talk about early on in the week, to talk about this trade, to talk about the change, talk about the effect it has on both franchises. And they both, Anthony Davis and Luka, both were shocked that it was happening. And the one that just made a lot more money was Anthony Davis. He just moved to Texas with a lot less taxes
Yes.
to continue to keep some of those millions. And so it took place. What the Luka happened, we'll don't know. But the Mavericks and the Lakers play each other soon. And it'll be interesting to see how much that ticket's like. What do they do? Luka needed to lose his muffin top, is what Lynn Longheim said. Appreciate that.
He is gotten a little beefy.
Well, that is the problem, and I can see from a team management perspective, the absolute fear it would give you paying that guy, signing him to 5 years, $70 million a year. If he won't stay in shape in his mid-20s, what's he going to be in his late 20s, early 30s?
And he doesn't play defense. So
So
I'm just
that
saying.
would be a substantial financial risk to sign him to a contract like that. So I can see some of the reason why you might want to move on from that. I think you could have probably shopped for a better return. But is it not also interesting here? You mentioned that NBA talking about shortening their games and stuff and trying to make it their stuff more fan friendly. And baseball obviously has been going through that recently, and they've done some things that I have liked with pitch clock and things like that have made the games move faster. But just a few years ago, when baseball was talking about that, the NBA was one of the things that they were comparing it to, or trying to say the NBA does a better job of drawing fans and being exciting and stuff like that. Now, just a few years later, the NBA is we need to do something to make the game more fan friendly, be more exciting. that is just interesting to me. I think it's generally more of a commentary on diversified methods of entertainment that might be affecting, some of these leagues, and but we don't see it in at least conversation of it in football, and that's one of those things that I don't know.
No, I mean, the things in football, they're trying to figure out how do we make sure we know somebody got a first down. That's their conversation. It's not how do we get more people to watch. It's because you know what, they figured it out.
They figured that out. If you're playing against the Chiefs, it's not a first down. If you are the Chiefs, it is a first down.
But I think that what they figured, here's what the NFL's figured out, and we'll go to commercial and we'll come back and we'll talk about the awards, is this. If you put it on TV, they're going to watch. So that's all you got to do. Doesn't matter if it's Wednesday night, doesn't matter if it's on Netflix, doesn't matter if it's on Amazon Prime, doesn't matter if you got to figure out a way to get Peacock, it doesn't matter what. As long as they put the NFL on TV, it's going to be watched.
Yeah, it is king.
I mean, people get up to make sure they catch a little bit of that London game before they go to church.
No, that one just makes me mad because I didn't realize it was happening and I didn't do something I needed to on my fantasy team.
Well, and that's one of the things I understand. I totally get that, and you realize
Speaking of, I've got something to. When we come back, I've got to ask you about a little fantasy situation that was brought to my attention.
Okay.
I think maybe a little punishment that you haven't completed yet.
I don't know about that. But
okay. Well, we'll talk about it when we come
back.
back.
Again, we appreciate Lawrence Hall of Abilene. Head over to LawrenceHallAbileneOnline.com, where they're always open, and get you a look at a new car, truck, or SUV. When we come back, Hall of Fame inductions announced. Hall of Fame snubs, and the NFL handed out awards last night, and Snoop might have crossed the line. Who'd have thought that? We'll be back right after this.
That's why I put two segments of headlines in.
What's that?
That's why I put two segments of headlines in, because I really wouldn't get the one segment. What?
Someone saw me at Mulligan's and brought it to my attention. I said,
Someone
okay,
saw
I
you
will. Yeah.
Mulligan?
I know, shocking,
You had to
right?
go visit Clay?
Yep, I did. He lives there. Did y'all see like the conspiracy, like about, I guess the owners are from Los Angeles or California or whatever. And,
they just like the Lakers more than their own team?
and like basically that's why they moved them, because eventually they're going to sell off, the Mavericks,
Right.
and then that'll be their team.
Hey, sometime during this segment, we need to make sure that doesn't go off, because I think it's sometime during the 7:15 that something resets.
No, y'all didn't read about the gambling rating thing? I just saw that and read about it, but you'd think it'd be more of a big deal, but an NBA player admitted that he manipulated performance for money.
Yes, I did.
Terry
I read it.
Rozier or Rozier or something
Yeah.
like that. I think I just see it.
And now they've tracked college basketball, no big programs, but three different college basketball teams have had, I guess, people that are throwing games.
I did see that.
People paying for certain, lay off guarding this guy because we need him to hit the over on him making 12 points.
What would be the punishment for that? You think?
I have said for a long time that this push towards gambling being all about every sports thing is everything's brought to you by whatever. Every commercial's for another sports gambling. It's like there's way too much money for people to be immune to it. Refs, players, and I bet it goes on
Especially if you're desperate.
way more than we know.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Some people just maybe don't make it as obvious.
Well, it's the way they catch it, and usually you could probably get away with it, especially some of these Mississippi Valley State is one of the schools, but
Which who was betting on that?
I see they're betting on everything.
But like,
And if you got,
Welcome back to the Hodge Pack Sports Live and everything in between. We're glad that you're with us as we continue rock and roll and get ready for the Super Bowl. And last night, and again, bottom of the hour, Graham Harrell and Coach Keith Patterson will join us this morning to talk all things ACU and get a little maybe recap of what Graham remembers of his time during Super Bowl week. Last night, the NFL awards, the NFL honors were last night. And they gave out some awards last night. Josh Allen wins the MVP, which I thought was, they said it was one of the closest votings between those, between he and Lamar Jackson. I think if you were to vote now and vote maybe even, not even now, but after possibly the Super Bowl, Saquon had a pretty good case. Either one of those. But Snoop kind of, I don't know if y'all watch any of the honors?
I did not.
I got home last night and caught it and watched a little bit of it. And Snoop was the host. And he started off, like all these award shows do, start picking people out of the crowd. And of course, Roger Goodell's in the crowd. A couple of the zingers he had was that the Super Bowl this week was the Eagles versus the refs. And then he picked on Josh Allen that the Mahomes disease or whatever, stripes. He said, I know people we can get. Anyway, it was awkward. He said, I've been watching football a long time. I remember when the Cowboys were good and when the Chiefs were bad. And he looked over and said, Bill Belichick's girlfriend wasn't even born yet. And she was in the crowd. And Bill Belichick wore all 6 of his Super Bowl championship rings. I mean, it looked like he had gone to a store and got every cracker. I mean, his hands were covered in Super Bowl rings, which I guess if you won 6, knock yourself out. Jay Daniels won Rookie of the Year, no surprise there. Kevin O'Connell won the Coach of the Year. Zertain Jr. won the Defensive Player of the Year. Joe Burrow won Comeback Player of the Year. But those were the highlights of last night as far as awards go. Should Andy Reid? It was Kevin O'Connell, Dan Campbell, Andy Reid as the I can't remember the other ones that were up for Coach of the Year. And my thought was, or Dan Quinn, and O'Connell won in Minnesota. I kind of felt like, is it fair for Andy Reid to be taken out of being able to win on what he's done? Because the culture he's created, the atmosphere he's created, is it unfair to him not to win that?
I mean, I don't know. I haven't ever really thought about that, I guess. But I would have been on the Campbell train, personally.
What he did with the injuries.
I would have picked Dan Campbell.
And I'll be honest with you, I think it irks me to say it, but what Dan Quinn did, taking the Commanders to the NFC Championship game in year 1 with the rookie quarterback was pretty impressive. But that happened last night. And the other thing that took place last night was the Hall of Fame class was announced for 2025. Smallest class since 2005. Only 4 people were elected. Jared Allen, defensive lineman. Eric Allen, longtime Eagle defensive back. Tight end Antonio Gates, who was a basketball player back in the day, was drafted and played for the San Diego Chargers. And then Sterling Sharp. Sterling Sharp is one of those guys, great receiver. Career ended short because of injury, but only 4 people getting into the Hall of Fame, and notably some of the ones that did not get elected. Out of Vinatieri, I think he should be, even though he's a kicker, that could be a debate. But was Eli Manning, not a first ballot Hall of Famer, and things get tougher next year. Josh is Eli Manning. I think if you're a first ballot Hall of Famer, you're first ballot. If you're a Hall of Famer, you're a Hall of Famer. They were in New Orleans, Super Bowl's in New Orleans. Perfect time to elect and select Eli Manning for the Hall of Fame. 2-time Super Bowl champion. Probably one of the big reasons why he should have been in is not so much about being a 2-time Super Bowl champion, but did them both in preventing Brady from having 9 Super Bowls.
I mean, I see the argument of Eli Manning being in the Hall of Fame, because he did win 2 Super Bowls, and that is a very rare company of quarterbacks who have. But the thing when I think about Eli Manning and his Hall of Fame candidacy, I think that yes, he had good moments, won big games, things like that. But was there ever a moment in our time as Cowboys fans when Eli Manning was playing for the Giants that you truly thought, when you were going to sit down to watch one of those games, wow, we're playing against one of the best quarterbacks in the league?
Yeah, we're watching great.
You never thought that.
But
you never.
You have.
No.
He was not Breeze.
No.
He was not his brother. In that same time period, you cross over with Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, obviously. And never once was he somebody that you were like, oh man, he's top 3 quarterbacks easy. You never would have said that. You never would have probably put him in the top 5. And I don't think that you can go from, you're a middle of the pack quarterback who won some Super Bowls to being a Hall of Famer. I personally think that, I think Tony Romo was better on the field than Eli Manning. Tony Romo didn't win Super Bowl, so no one even talks about him being a Hall of Famer. So I'm out on Eli Manning as a Hall of Famer. I think he's clever. He's entertaining to watch. He won big games for the Giants, which probably makes me biased against him. But I do not think that he was one of the greatest on the field.
So you don't think he's a Hall of Famer at all?
Not at all.
I don't either.
All right, go back to middle of his career and look at the other quarterbacks that when he was at his prime, you would not put him in the top 5 ever. The crossover of other great quarterbacks that his career overlapped, you never would put him in the top 5 in any given year of his career. So how can he be a Hall of Fame football player?
I think coming in clutch on when he did.
Okay, you won 2 Super Bowls. Larry Brown won 3. And he was a Super Bowl MVP. Is he a Hall of Famer?
No, he's not. But
he picked off 2 balls. They don't even win that Super Bowl without him, and he's not a Hall of Famer. All right, so my point is proven. Thank you for being wrong.
He had a great game.
Oh, exactly.
Game.
Okay. And David Tyree caught a ball off his helmet that he never should have caught. I guess all right. Eli Manning's a Hall of Famer because his receiver made the luckiest catch in the history of the Super Bowl. All right.
Yeah, I think Eli. Now he'll right
never
now,
top 5. Never top 5.
Right now, he's the only other. There's only one other. I've got another trivia question for the 8 o'clock hour. There's only one other Super Bowl quarterback that's won multiple Super Bowls that's not in the Hall of Fame.
I bet they were a top 5 quarterback in the league for multiple years.
And he was a Heisman Trophy, I believe. I need to look that up. Jim Plunkett. And Jim Plunkett probably should be a Hall of Famer. I think what Eli has done in his career, and we can look it up, but I do believe...
We will be looking this up.
Well, I do believe that Eli...
Are you letting the last name kind of get in the way of why you think he's a Hall of Famer? Don't get it twisted because he's a Manning.
Well, I think you look at the longevity of his career. You look at the consecutive starts that he had. He was a pretty reliable quarterback, durable quarterback. And you're right. If Tony could have been durable, he might have been in the same boat. Of course, and honestly, if Tony's reliable, there's probably no Dak.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, one that I wonder if he would ever get in, who had a pretty good, decent career, would be Drew Bledsoe. So you think he should not even? Obviously, you're definitely on board that he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer. So you believe he should not even be in the Hall of Fame, period, because he was not a top 5 quarterback. Do you think Terry Bradshaw at one time, his stats weren't great, was a top 5 quarterback? Like you were scared for Terry Bradshaw?
Well, that was in the 70s.
I was gonna say, that's so hard to compare
Oh.
back then, the game back then.
I don't know the whole basis of every other quarterback that was playing back then, but I feel like from what I've just watched on NFL films that Terry Bradshaw was a competent quarterback. I'm not saying Eli Manning's not competent, but I'm gonna have to actually like go back and look, and I'm gonna pull up Pro Football Reference and like do some comparisons. But I do not think that there was ever a year that he was one of the top quarterbacks in the league.
Eli Manning's number 11 in all-time passing yards league.
Okay, and everybody above him played at the same time as him.
Tom Brady, Hall of Famer, will be. Drew Brees, Hall of Famer, will be. Manning, his brother, Hall of Famer. Favre, Big Ben, Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Okay, he'll be one. Philip Rivers.
See, Philip Rivers never won Super Bowls, but he's a better quarterback than Eli Manning.
Okay. Aaron Rodgers, he'll be a Hall of Famer. Dan Marino already. The other two that I question, I know we got about a minute.
And see, Marino's actually impressive because he played in a time frame that they weren't slinging the ball everywhere, and he's still on that list.
Matt Ryan.
I think Matt Ryan and Eli Manning are two peas in the pod.
And one, it'd be. I think Manning's going to have a harder time next year to get in, but I think he is a Hall of Fame quarterback. Two-time Super Bowl champion. Kurt Warner won one, went to another. Actually went to a total of 3. Won one Super Bowl, got into the Hall of Fame. And Kurt Warner, greatest show on turf, had a great year. But I also think, like I said, I just think that I think he's a Hall of Fame. I really do. Well, because Drew Brees and Larry Fitzgerald will be first ballot Hall of Famers. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. And both.
But Drew Brees, you would put he was one or two quarterbacks in the league multiple years.
Yeah.
So that's the difference. I mean, yes, you can win some big games and you can have a long career and stack up some yards. But I think that is a deflated stat because of the way that the game changed. Everybody that's in the top 20 in passing all played in the last 10 years except for Dan Marino.
I think you're getting caught up in the last name.
No, I think the
Manning.
I think two-time Super Bowl champ, the way they did it, coming from out of nowhere, and again, I think the team that you beat also helps this cause, preventing the undefeated streak of the Patriots and another. When we come back, we will have a Hall of Famer, College Football Hall of Famer Graham Harrell, and head football coach of ACU, Keith Patterson. Will talk ACU football and the upcoming season of the Wildcats. We'll be back right after this.
Also, your fantasy punishment.
We got a whole hour. We'll get that in the, or you can do it part of your game. Part of your.
Oh yeah, I'll mention it. I'm shocked you don't remember.
I have no idea.
You agreed to it apparently.
No idea.
Maybe you were at
Look at this right here.
Mulligan's and
Mull that over. That's Tony Romo versus Eli Manning head to head.
We asked these guys. Let's ask them.
All right.
Hi guys, come in. We're in a debate. Maybe y'all can give us your opinion. Is Eli Manning
How are you?
a Hall of Famer? We're having a huge debate right now.
How are you? How are you? Graham here.
Hi, Mr. Clark. Nice to meet you.
How are you? Graham
Good to see you, Sam. I was telling him about our debate. Hodge says yes, Josh and I say
You
no.
win 2 Super Bowls and anyway. Josh doesn't
Yeah, y'all
think he is. Josh doesn't think he is. I do.
Yeah, y'all take.
These two seats?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, and we'll be over here.
All right, so Josh, are you good?
Yeah, we were in a. Josh got a little heated on that one.
Did he?
Sometimes he hits this, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this thing's gonna yeah. So we got into a little debate there because we think that Eli Manning is never in our time when we were watching Eli were we like, ooh, we're watching greatness, and so we're like, we don't get the sparkle of him, and Hodge doesn't, so we had this huge debate over it.
I mean, the guy won 2 Super Bowls. I didn't know it has nothing to do with
He can't get over it. yet.
No, he won't.
I mean, and I was listening to on the way in.
But to Josh's point, ever were you like, oh my gosh, we are watching greatness with Eli Manning? That's our point. No,
But I think there were
never.
times
Nobody ever has said that about
you
Eli
knew
Manning.
you had a chance to lose to that guy.
But okay, you had any given Sunday. Okay, good for you. It's any given Sunday in football. Good for you. You won a game. You won the game.
Just saying he won 2 Super Bowls. He's number 11 all time.
We're gonna die on this hill.
Yeah.
You have stats up over there.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
football
we were
records,
all. We were all.
His name could be Eli Ryan or Eli
I
Russell.
said, I think you're getting caught up in the Manning. Like, he is no Peyton. Oh, gosh. But just nobody would ever put him high up on the all-time list of great quarterbacks.
Did
And
he get in the Hall of
And
Fame?
that's my
Or is he
point.
just going on it?
No.
So last night they as part of the NFL awards was part of it was announcing. Used to they knocked on the hotel and if you sat in your room forever, nobody knocked. You found out you didn't. But here they announced it at the awards, and it's like somebody said it was perfect. They were in New Orleans, Super Bowl's in New Orleans. He joked how he was staying at his parents' house and said, "Hey, I get the bed. Peyton doesn't." It'd been perfect to, induct him for the 25. And they only let 4 people in last night: Jared Allen, Eric Allen, Antonio Gates, and Sterling Sharp. Of course, Sterling, his career ended short because of injury. I don't know. But then next year it gets harder. Next year it gets harder because Drew Brees and Larry Fitzgerald are eligible. You don't think Larry Fitzgerald and Drew Brees aren't first ballot Hall of Famers?
I mean, yes, but not Eli. Like, that's our point.
I'm glad we're coming back.
I bet you are. Josh, he's going to die on this hill.
I've never been more glad to be able to take over a segment and get rid of one as I am right now. It's time for our Big Country Electric My Town segment, brought to you by Big Country Electric Cooperative, brought to you by Big Country Electric Cooperative, taking care of their members each and every day. Roby Snyder and Stanford. We highlight a local player coach program, and today we've got coaches program, the most successful season that the Wildcats have had at Division I, coming off a great year. Coach Keith Patterson joining us, and a Hall of Famer, unlike Eli Manning, because apparently they had the whole debate during the segment, and neither one of them, did they even give an answer?
No.
See, there you go. They're smart people. But joining us again in studio, Coach Keith Patterson and the new offensive coordinator for the Wildcats, Graham Harrell. Appreciate you guys walking into that bus off. Again, so Coach, coming in, it's been a fun year. I wrote down on my questions. How would you describe 2024 season? It was a lot of fun. It brought a lot of attention to ACU, to Abilene, and really across the college football landscape when it came to the AC Wildcats.
No doubt, it was full of ups and downs. Obviously, I think Graham and I were talking about that on the way out here. But people are still talking to me about the Texas Tech game,
Right.
And everyone forgets. I was thinking about it, talking with my wife, and everybody forgets the bus wreck after the game.
Right.
I remember it vividly.
Right.
And so I think the season started off with a bang, no pun intended, but then to be able to win the conference championship and then to get a first round playoff game at home and play really well in front of everyone here in Big Country and to be able to win the game convincingly, and then be able to finish the season at North Dakota State, the standard of FCS football. So man, a lot of really good things to build off of, and then culminating all that with hiring a great group of coaches, one of those guys being Graham.
Well, and you talk about, getting to go to North Dakota. It was a game that, the Wildcats came and competed in.
Yeah, no doubt. We found our players, the thing I liked about that game more than anything, we went into that thinking we could win the game. I mean, it wasn't like we were intimidated. We went out and we threw the first punch and got after them pretty good. And 20 to 17 at halftime. I just felt like we never recovered after we let that kickoff return go for a touchdown. And then, to come out we got the ball the first series of the second half and got hit in the back, and they scooped it and ran it down. And once they made it a 10-point lead, it just seems like we could never get closer than that. And then having the 3 turnovers in the second half was big and just kept us from ever being able to get over the hump. But I felt like I was proud of our kids because they just kept fighting, and they did that. That's what they did all year long.
Well, and one of the things that success does is that we see it in the NFL. Dan Campbell had to go look for an offensive coordinator and a defensive coordinator because they left, and success kind of makes people go other places. And which it's a double-edged sword. You're excited for people, but it's also like, okay, now I've got to get my coaching staff ready to go. And that is that kind of basically what happened.
Yeah, I showed up on Monday. You're thinking, hey, well, we're going to celebrate the season, and man, 10 young men walk in my office and say, hey, I'm going to get in the portal, and 6 of them end up coming back. We lost 4 to the portal. Then you got about 4 or 5 coaches that are also not necessarily getting in the portal, but they're people are reaching out to them. That's what to me, that's what this is all about. I took this job knowing that it was going to be able to create opportunities for young coaches, and man, I've had my day in the sun per se, and you know what? It's a young man's game, in my opinion, and I love being around. They keep me young,
Right.
So to be able to keep that going, and I love seeing young coaches be able to parlay that into success.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I thought about you about 2 weeks ago when Brian Schottenheimer got the call at 51.
Yeah.
And, that poor guy, of course, Jerry say, this is the biggest risky thing I've ever done. And I'm like, dude, he's sitting right there. But he got his first crack at 51. And in today's time, a 51-year-old first head coach in the NFL is according to Jerry, it's risky, but it's not happening a lot. It's the 30-year-old, it's the 40-year-old that's getting it. And so I thought, you probably felt, hey, I'm getting this chance and I'm going to take advantage of it. And I as they call him, Shoddy, he got a nickname like in 2 seconds and taking shoddy shots. If you ever need entertainment, watch that press conference because Jerry rattles off some stuff that makes no sense. But the excitement that you had to have, you know what? I'm not looking at age. I'm not looking at everything. I'm going to go do this. And the success that you've had has been a lot of fun.
You bet. I really thought my window had passed to become a head coach. I wasn't looking to become a head. Had no plan for, hey, what kind of offensive coordinator are you going to have? I didn't have any plan at all, really. And so now I'm back in my comfort zone. Obviously, I've worked with anywhere from Gus Malzahn to Mike Norvell to Chad Morris to Sonny Cumbie. I've been all these, Dana Holgerson. Graham's just another one in the long list of spread and hurry up, no huddle offenses, and looking forward to him putting his stamp on ACU football.
Well, and a couple of things, Ritzy gets second team All-American. Blaine Taylor played in the Shrine Bowl last week, and so it's exciting to see what's happening. Of course, the class of 2025, now we have a class in December, and February used to be a big deal. I'm sure Graham remembers February being a big deal. Did you have again? Graham Harold joined us. Did you have more than one hat out in front, or to trick anybody, or what was signing day look like for you?
I'd say, but I was before that. I was committed, and they did a little thing, but there was a table sitting there, and I don't even think we had a banner behind me at the time. I was sitting at a blank table with a piece of paper and signed it with my mom and dad. And that was about it. But signing days changed a lot. I think the landscape of college football has changed a lot, but especially from a recruiting standpoint. So it's much different than it used to be. That's for sure.
Well, and you talk about it. You would have multiple kids with labs like Florida, LSU, Texas, and all these different hats. Now there's a chance they may play for all 4 of those before their college career is over. This is my sophomore year, my freshman year, and then maybe I end up somewhere else. But in that, you signed folks, and Graham, you've had obviously a great career at Tech. You just got announced going to be part of the College Football Hall of Fame class of 25. And you're getting to come back. I've said all along, and I've said it with Coach Patterson, there's not a better fraternity than Texas high school coaches. And I know that means a lot for you and your dad, but what does it mean coming back to the big country area to coach these Wildcats?
Man, I'm grateful and excited. Kind of like you said, this area is most of my family, especially my dad's family, is somewhere between Abilene and Midland, and so it's kind of coming home. My grandparents lived here my entire life, so anytime we came to my grandparents' house, we would come to Abilene. My little brother actually coaches at Wiley right now, so he's already here. I still have family here, and the thing that's the best is just the people, and it's always been that way. That's why, I think Abilene has great food, and the people are a little better than the food. So coming to Abilene was awesome, and then getting in the facility with Coach KP, just the staff, he's done a great job of getting good people in there as well. So coming to work's fun every day. Well,
and ACU's done a really good job. I mean, obviously, you know this more than anybody, whether it was at Tech or USC, the places, facilities matter. And ACU's done a really good job of creating that Division I atmosphere for players and stuff like that. And so what does that look like now? I mean, obviously, Maverick is being replaced, like the landscape of college football.
Yeah.
So what do we look for? Of course, again, maybe talk a little bit about this 2025 class and how is the portal becoming successful for y'all because of the success of 24?
Yeah, I think it's just raised the profile of the player that we're able to attract. I mean, every year it just gets a little bit better and a little bit better. People that would never have been interested in Abilene Christian University 3 years ago are now interested in us. And, we brought in 6 mid-year guys. And Luke and Lance Roden from Washington State, former Texas high school players from Tomball High School, Caden Carr from Amarillo by way of Lubbock Cooper, Texas Tech. We brought those 3 guys in, losing the 3 interior players that we had. We brought Stone Earl back from Marshall. We brought Zion Fonua back from, he's a Euless Trinity kid, and came back from Eastern Michigan. So I feel really good about the mid-year signings we had. Then we ended up brought in 11 high school players as well. And
local kids, Sutton Tech, I saw.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yes, sir. We're excited about Sutton. Sutton's been very familiar with our football program ever since I've been here. So again, excited about those young men. After losing, Jerry Lawson and David Oakey, we still feel like that we got some needs to meet in May through the portal, and that with the way things are now, you're constantly recruiting. I hate to say it, but signing day is almost anticlimactic anymore,
right?
Because you're just constantly trying to rebuild your roster, and it's just the nature of college football.
Right. It's free agency, and what do you have to offer? And so, so Graham cannot bring this up as a guy that just loves sports. And a couple of questions. What was it like playing for Leach?
There's only one of those guys, and there's only going to be one of those.
Yeah.
It was a blast, and I think what Leach, as weird as it's not, I don't want to say weird, but it's different probably as a football coach as he is. The one thing I think he was brilliant about was he always kept it light, and we might spend an hour and a half meeting and not watch it one clip of film, and he's talking about some crazy trial going on where a lady's killing all their 4 husbands in a row or something, and but he kept it light, and I think he understood that if you act like it's 4th and 1 every day, I think you're going to get your guys to play too tight and not be loose, and so we were always loose, and he was, like I said, he was one of one, and I loved him. With Coach Leach, you either love him or you hate him. And I think a lot
more people loved him, and definitely Missy for sure. And I can't not talk about we're in Super Bowl week. You got to experience, unfortunately, a Super Bowl win, but unfortunately, the worst weather that could possibly be in Arlington that week. I think it's probably prevented Jerry hosting another Super Bowl. But what was Super Bowl week like that you recall leading up to that? And
it's crazy, and I tell everyone this: after winning the NFC Championship, that felt like a win, like a high school playoff win, or probably a college playoff win or something. Yeah. And then once you get to the Super Bowl, it's a performance almost. It's crazy, and I didn't realize that obviously until I went there. But you get a week off, and that week you're practicing, you're preparing, and it kind of feels like a normal game week. But once you fly out to the site and you get in the true like Super Bowl week, it's not even, you're a show.
How many tickets are like, I mean, I'm thinking, graduating from MS, being close, what's the ticket like? Is there like, how many, back then, well, I know you said you were not at a signing day where it was like this today. I know you were on the cell phone minute where you were getting texts and calls and being charged by the minute. But I bet you got your phone blowing up a lot during Super Bowl weekend. Hey man, longtime friend, love a ticket. What was that like?
Yeah, there's a lot of people that wanted to go, and I probably shouldn't say this, but those tickets were going for a high price. So
Right.
I let a couple people come and let some of the guys on the team buy the rest. But
Right.
it was I actually got in trouble. I sold my girlfriend's ticket, and we didn't end up getting married, so it worked out all right. But
hey.
But no,
if you're
it
gonna
was,
sell that one, sell it to that one, not sell the one that you're with now.
Yeah, but it was.
I don't want breaking news, Adam Schefter, like Graham Carroll. That's good. That's
No,
good.
it was crazy. But I had a ton of people wanting tickets. Obviously, being from right there,
Right.
I brought basically my family, and then my dad's defensive coordinator. He was like my second dad. He got to come to the game too. So that was an awesome experience.
So we can't let you go without this. Who do you have winning this week?
I just don't think you can bet against Pat. I think the Eagles are good enough to win, but he's done it too many times, and Coach Reed as well. Obviously, they know how to win. So if I were going to bet on it, I'd probably bet on Pat.
That's who I have. Yeah, that's who I have. I just think it's kind of like Ric Flair said, to be the man, you got to beat the man. Until it happens, I don't see it. And I'll be honest with you, I kind of want to see the history. I mean, 3 in a row has not ever been done, and see the history of 2 years in a row of AC Wildcats going to the playoffs and winning the conference.
Yes, sir.
But guys, I know y'all have a busy day and busy time, but I appreciate you guys coming in. Love to have you again as we get closer to the season throughout. And if there's anything we can do to promote AC football, we are all about it. And welcome to Abilene, Texas, Graham.
Glad to be here.
All right, again, it's Keith Patterson and Graham Harold, ACU head coach, ACU offense coordinator. They've got the Chiefs, and Graham revealed that there was not a whole lot of hats behind him and paper and all those things when he got signed. So good stuff. And sorry, girlfriend, that didn't get to go to the Super Bowl. But anyway, we appreciate them being here. Is Eli a Hall of Famer?
Yeah, probably.
You went 2 Super Bowls, probably so.
See, there you go, Josh. They're right. We are right. They're wrong. I appreciate that. I'm going to take that from a head coach in Division I and a college football Hall of Famer that Eli's a Hall of Famer, so that makes me right. When we come back, Misty will probably tell me I'm wrong. We'll be back right after this.
Yeah.
You don't win 2 Super Bowls in a row.
Oh my gosh, are we still?
I'm just saying, Graham and
Okay, guys, let's get a
I'm
picture.
just saying, Graham and Coach KP agreed. So.
Y'all did? Oh my gosh, you turned on
And they
me.
might have been
right
nice just for the post. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's what happened.
All right, where are we taking?
Let's go right here. And then Sam, if you'll get here, we'll just, that way we can get. All right, yep, sure, that's great. Everybody in? Yep, yep.
All right, here we go.
Awesome.
I appreciate it. Thank y'all for coming in. Look forward to seeing you around.
Yes.
That was good to see you as always.
Good to see you. Nice to
Bye.
meet you.
Appreciate
Thanks
it.
for coming in.
Thanks for having
Good to
us.
see you, Sam.
Yep.
All right, bye.
Have a good day.
You too.
Take care.
So you owe Josh, he had 10 games short, and he was right there within.
I don't know how, I mean, I freaked out for a moment, so I don't know how much we missed, but
But
it was.
you're gonna need to edit it because there was a
but
minute.
That's the thing. I don't know why it does it at a random time.
Yeah, because we just refreshed it, it's not like it was on for a long
No.
I
time.
think there's a reset or something like 6:40.
Because,
But I
yeah,
was just, we were sitting there just.
He
I was
nailed it.
Listening to and then it went off, and I was like, oh, shit.
yeah, I mean, it was probably like 5 to 10 seconds, like, but you're gonna need to make sure that, you know,
We'll go dead air for
yes,
a sec.
for just a sec.
It's pretty cool having him in town, Graham Harold.
Yes, very cool.
Yeah, he's obviously a legend in college football.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah, I'm glad we got him on so quick. Good job, Hodge. Oh my gosh, it is so foggy out there now. Like even worse than when we, unless,
See, when I was in Lubbock the other day.
look at that.
When, on Wednesday morning, I, got to start making my way back here, and it was like dangerously foggy. Like driving, you couldn't see,
Yeah.
like stoplights until you got like right up on them, and if a car was driving that had neglected to put their lights on, you would not see them until they were like here to the wall over there, just like.
Hey, real quick.
I don't think she was gonna say it.
No, I wasn't gonna say it like that, but
What?
it's fine. Yeah, I'm not,
If it was something other than that.
no, I totally get it.
Getting a tattoo on your rear. You say that.
I do have one that I do owe Misty, a deviled egg.
He really does. But,
A deviled egg?
uh-huh. I need to get one. We need to just go eat at Pork and Pig one day because they actually have really good ones. Yeah, and feel free to look at the stats that Josh posted.
We are back for the Hodge Pack, sports life and everything in between, right here on 106.9, The Country Giant. Don't forget you can download, subscribe, rate, review the podcast. If you missed something, want to go back and re-listen to our interview with Coach KP and Graham Harrell, go check that out as well. But it is time for one of our favorite moments of the day. Misty's back.
So you guys know, because I texted you this, that I'm very excited to announce that Mulligan's is starting a brunch on Saturdays. Are y'all brunch people? Like, do y'all eat brunch?
I'll
eat
go ahead.
breakfast.
Okay.
I don't really, and I'm all for it, and I know people are excited about it.
Yeah.
I don't, I'm like Josh.
Do y'all eat earlier?
I'm a normal breakfast person, and in fact, I'm such a normal breakfast person. I want to get to this, so we're going to do legal ID real quick.
So-
I will say, I love the notion of brunch.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I thought.
Me too. I did too.
Just kick off hour 2 now.
Okay.
You confused me.
All right, we are kicking off hour number 2, and we are in Misty's Bag, brought to you by Mulligan. And Misty was asking, I don't think it's part of the question, I don't think it's her question, but was talking about brunch. It's now available at Mulligan.
It's a question within a question.
Yes, it's not the question, but yes.
It's got to be your book.
Well, I was thinking when you asked if I was a brunch person, I'm not, because generally I wake up earlier and I've already had breakfast by the time it's brunch time. But I love the notion of brunch, and I read the menu and that you had forwarded me in that text, and I thought
It
that sounds
sounds
really good.
Yeah.
Yes,
Alright.
and with the tater kegs coming in hot on the
So
burrito.
maybe I could plan like an early lunch that coincided with like the
Well,
brunch
I think
menu. could do that.
I think deep down you would be there for the lunch part.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, because it starts
You'd
at
already
11.
you'd already
I could
handled
do-
your
I could
bruh.
do 11 o'clock lunch, that would be fine.
Yeah.
You've already done your bruh.
Yeah, just finish it off.
You'd be there for the lunch part.
Yes.
See, I love breakfast. This is funny. I don't eat breakfast like at a normal time, but I like breakfast foods. So I like to eat breakfast foods for dinner.
Do you call it breakfast for dinner?
Yeah, or
Oh
dinner.
my God.
Josh, I'm just so glad that we get to do life together.
Oh,
It's
geez.
just so, it's just so great, Josh.
It's the big one, Elizabeth. He was touching his chest. He was going down.
Because yeah, I have a lot of pet peeves. The phrase breakfast for dinner is high on that list also.
I mean, basically, he
You
just
can
doesn't
have-
like when I talk at all.
Well, I mean, I'm discovering that more and more.
So sorry, Misty, what would you call it?
You're
breakfast
still,
item?
you're still eating supper. You're just having
Breakfast
bacon
items?
and eggs. you
So
know,
it's
like,
still called supper.
It's still called supper.
I don't call it supper. I say
So-
dinner.
So if you have a hamburger,
If you
It's
you
not
eat your
lunch or
leftover
night.
pizza on Saturday morning, is that having supper for breakfast?
Supper sounds so like old manish, like supper.
Dinner for breakfast?
Come out for
Well-
supper. I'm gonna ring the bell. I don't know. Do you call it supper or dinner?
I'll tell people I like having breakfast at supper.
So you say supper.
Supper, dinner, yeah.
I say dinner. I don't think I've ever said, "Come over, let's have some supper." I don't know. It
Really?
just
From
sounds
Robert
so.
Lee?
I know.
Really? That kinda
Look
shocked
at
me.
me.
Yeah.
No, it's
Very
it's
highbrow.
it's
Yeah.
dinner. It's
Very good.
dinner.
All right. Well, I hope you have your pinky out when you have your tea at 3.
Yeah, it is dinner. Okay. So here is the question. So many athletes have nicknames, and of course their legacy lives on with that nickname. I want to know your opinion of the top 3 greatest nicknames of all time, and then I want to know which name you would want if you were playing.
Well, I mean, I think one of the most famous would be the Big Bambino
Yeah.
for Babe
It's like
Ruth.
a SWAT, the Colossus.
It'd be, yeah, he's got a lot.
He just went Sandlot on us.
I think the other one that was pretty fitting was William Refrigerator Perry.
Yes, that's good.
They called, what was Nolan? Roger Clemens was the Rocket.
The Ryan Express.
Yeah, the Rocket. Roger Clemens was pretty good.
Are there any current nicknames? I was trying to think about that. Like, are there ones that you're just like?
Honestly, probably one of the newest ones would be, they called Peyton the Sheriff, and which it wasn't necessarily a nickname, but one that he was on the team, but they called him would be Captain
Right.
Derek Jeter.
Derek Jeter's like, yeah.
I don't know if there's a whole lot of nicknames that are given to players today. I got to meet Carlin Mecklenburg, who played for the Broncos back in the day, and he was called, and his nickname was Albino Rhino because he was so, pale complected.
Yeah, blonde and everything.
yeah. So I don't know if we have any today. I mean, they call LeBron the King.
Yeah, King James.
Yeah, I guess that is like that. All right.
And,
Answer the question.
And Kobe was
Mamba.
Mamba.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess, ironically, the one that unfortunately lost his mom this week, Tiger's not his real name. Tiger and Magic, Irvin Magic Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they just went by their nickname.
Yeah, they never even changed.
What about Larry Bird? So his name, do y'all remember his name?
The
White Hope.
no, it's like the hick from Salt Lick.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
the
yeah.
hick from French
The
Lick.
Hick from French Lick, yeah. The Hick from French Lick. And Larry was pretty good.
Kevin Durant, Slim
What's
Reaper.
Eli's? Hall of Famer? Is that his nickname?
We need like a dump button on that one.
Yeah, I think those are
Big
some-
Poppy.
Big Poppy.
Yeah.
I had an Uber driver. His name was David Ortiz, and I said, "Well, you're not Big Poppy."
Did they ever call you Big Poppy?
I did. Yeah, that's a pretty interesting question as far as
Wilt the Stilt.
Oh yeah, Wilt the Stilt.
Pistol Pete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember.
Sweetness was
Sweetness.
Walter Payton.
Yeah. Yeah.
The greatest show on turf was the nickname for all the players. Yeah.
Nice.
Hammer and Hank.
Oh yeah, that was good. Yeah.
Can't touch this.
Yeah.
That's not the same guy.
The Say Hey Kid.
Willie May.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot.
There are a lot.
That stuck with their.
Right.
Here's one.
The Great Mound of Rebound.
Right.
Who was it?
Great mound of rebound.
Mm-hmm.
Moses Malone.
Charles Barkley.
Charles Barkley, that was a round mound of reading.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll tell you one that I'm trying to work away from, but I'm getting closer and closer every day to that, is Pudge Hodge instead of Pudge Rodriguez.
I like that name though, Pudge. It just sounds so, it just sounds so cute.
I'm going to stick with Hodge. I'm going to try to avoid Pudge.
The Pudge Pack.
No.
As we age out.
Yeah, that needs to be never said ever again. Nobody's ordering that.
Oh, that's great.
Those are some good nicknames. Yeah.
Oh, that's
So
great.
what would you want?
I like Big Poppy. Like,
That's
I'm
what you
not a
want?
poppy,
That's
but
what you-
like, I like the
Big
name.
Moppy?
And I do like the name Pudge. Like, it just sounds
We can
cute.
start, apparently that's what you want to be called now?
I mean, obviously a big one that nobody ever says D on. So obviously Prime, Prime
I
Time.
think that Dion's is real name.
Showtime.
Showtime, that is
Showtime.
all the I was thinking all the Lakers of back in the 80s. Josh, you're Bear. You have a nickname, Bear. My nickname is on the show.
Yeah.
Misty, did you have a nickname or do you have a nickname? I mean,
Yeah,
I
my
know you're.
brothers called me Pisty Misty because they would
Oh,
always
shocker.
aggravate me, and then I would
You're
get
so difficult
mad.
to aggravate. I'm not sure how that works.
I
They
know.
would always jack with me, and
What
so
made you mad as a kid?
they did this thing, and gosh, they would if I would start to cry, they would be like, "Oh, that's the baby," and they would like pet me like I was a dog or something, and I would get really mad, and then they're like, "Ooh, Pisty Misty's coming out," and they're just dumb older brothers. But
Sounds like they had it
Right?
right down the middle.
they did. They provoked me.
So your favorite is Big Poppy.
I think Big Poppy.
Josh, do you have
I
a
like.
favorite?
A favorite nickname?
And I like the hick from French Lick, but
Yeah.
it's hard. Like,
It's
I feel
hard
like
to
I
say.
would jack that up.
Yeah, I
So
did jack it up. I said the wrong lick. I don't know.
you
Salt
said
lick.
a salty
What-
lick
What is that?
That's a restaurant in Austin.
Yeah.
versus the French Lick.
I like.
Oh,
I like-
sorry, Wayne Gretzky was the great one.
Yeah, great one. I like the nickname Dick Night Train Lane. That was like one of those from back in the day when you got the NFL's greatest hits VHS with their Sports Illustrated subscription. He was a
Beast.
defensive back for the Raiders back when they were, I believe it was the Raiders, and he like
Lock people
murdered
up.
people.
Yeah. That's one of-
Probably literally.
Well, that's one of the things that Carl Mecklenburg, before he spoke, showed this highlight, and it was funny. I said they showed a couple, and I said that would be a fine today or whatever, and he gets up to speak and goes, "How many of y'all thought that would have been a couple of fines or penalties today?" And yeah, back then you could lock some people up. Well, there's probably some. If we're missing any, send us on Twitter at Hodge Pack Sports at Twitter, or post on our Facebook page. Those that are watching, Hill Christina from Kentucky, appreciate that. But again, a lot of good nicknames. Do you have any nicknames that we're missing? Because like Misty said, there's so many. I'm sure that we're missing some of those. So talk real quick before we break away. Tell them about the brunch.
Yeah, so I will definitely be there tomorrow as the brunch debuts at Mulligan's at 1166 Ben Ritchie Drive. They're going to have a classic breakfast, chicken and waffles, breakfast burrito with the famous tater kegs. And they're going to have some brunch bevies also. And so head on over to their Facebook page so that you can see everything. But it's 11 to 1 tomorrow is the kickoff of their brunch menu. So super exciting stuff. Always going on at Mulligan's. But yes, I will definitely be there tomorrow as they kick off.
There you go. Brunch tomorrow. A lot of things. Head out to Mulligan's. Go. Hey, you're going to have a lot of golf balls, a lot of great weather to do just that over the next few days. So take advantage of that. All right. So when we come back, Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans happening this weekend. We'll talk our storylines, what we expect, what we think, and of course, eventually we'll do our picks, and Josh will plan the perfect Super Bowl party. We'll be back right after this.
Happy Thursday, Spice Refresher.
Oh, yikes.
When we come back, we're going to go old intro, which is the old Mark Powell, What I Do song. We'll plug Hef's, and we'll plug what you're doing the deal next week. Okay.
Oh, yeah. How are you feeling about that? Like, are we nervous?
I'll be nervous.
Yeah. It's you and Nathan? Who's all there?
Just singing the song. At Hatch next Saturday.
Oh, okay. I was confused.
No, I'm doing the introduction, but I think
Yeah.
I'm not nervous about that.
Oh, okay. Okay, no, I didn't know you were doing hips. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Singer-songwriter.
Oh, that's
World
awesome.
famous Josh Greer.
Yeah.
Do you have a stage name?
No.
So is it's an original?
Oh, yeah, you have to write your own songs. So
Oh,
we have
cool.
to do two, so I've
You have two. Oh, man.
probably forgotten more songs that I've written than I actually remember.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you have them, like, do you have it written down somewhere, like in a notebook, or it's all here? You better write it down. You're not getting any younger.
You're right. I have, but I haven't written a song in 20 years.
So how many people I don't know about this. Like, I've heard about it, but I don't know all the
Well,
details.
I mean, it's a singer-songwriter competition for Outlaws and Legends.
And if you win, you get to perform there, or?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And thought, several years ago, I thought, I should do that.
Yes.
I used to play in some bars here and there, but,
That's cool.
so I decided to do it. So you can play.
I know. When is it?
Next Saturday at 7
And where's it at?
at the place over there across from the movie theater.
Okay, 7:00. And you can show up? Do we have to get tickets?
We'll have to get table.
Or a table?
I-
Okay, yeah, we definitely need to do that.
I gotta get my notes out for what I think about this Super Bowl.
Are you bringing your kids?
Probably not.
Yeah, I didn't know. Like Molly, since she's older.
He's gonna bring him to storm the stage.
That's my daddy.
How many people are competing? Do we know?
I have no idea.
Oh, man. And will you know that night?
I guess.
You won't know your order, I don't think, until that night. I don't know how that works.
Yeah.
They have it last night. Last Saturday was week 1. Tomorrow's week 2, and then that's the final week, and then you make it to the finals the following week.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know about it, like how it all works, so
I really don't either. I just mentioned it, and I was like, I think I'll sign up for that. So I did.
that's awesome.
I think you have to sing. You have to sing 2.
Original songs.
Is it just you and the guitar?
Yeah, that's it. I don't have any band.
I mean, we can be your groupies.
Don't have any koozies to sell.
Dang it. I mean, there's still time. We can get some on order and throw them to the crowd. Who votes? Is it a committee? Or is
They
it-
have judges,
Judges? Yeah.
and we're back. Welcome back to the Hodge Pack Sports Life and everything in between. As you hear that song, our original comeback song, Hodge Pack original, not our original, but the original intro, part of What I Do by Mark Powell. And shout out to Mark Powell and folks from Kinfo. They've got their song up for, I think, like musical event of the year for the Texas Regional Radio Music Awards. Of course, Greg Austin, JB Cloud up for that as well. Outlaws and Legends too. But part of that is Outlaws and Legends coming up March 21st, 22nd. You can get your tickets still at outlawsandlegends.com. They have a singer-songwriter competition here at Hess at the mall, which is where we're located in our Tootsie Live studio in the Mall of Abilene. And they have, last week was round 1. Tomorrow will be round 2. And on February 15th, round 3. And Josh, you entered the singer-songwriter.
Yeah, I signed up. It's been a while since I've done such a thing, but I've written a few songs and just thought I'd just give it a
All it
whirl
takes is
for old
one
times'
discovery. All it takes is one
sake.
discovery.
I mean,
and-
I'm not really holding out hope for that, but just having a good time. Maybe see if any of our listening audience wants to come hear me play guitar and sing a song that I wrote or two.
And I believe his first one is about Eli Manning not being a Hall of Famer.
It's not a very entertaining song, but
Obviously,
Only 2 verses. about
it's
Super
not going to
Bowl.
go very far.
No, it'll go 2 Super Bowl championships. Anyway, so that'll be next Saturday. Of course, again, tomorrow night, round 2. Round 3 will be on the 15th. And, of course, the final will be that February 22nd, I believe, there at Hess. So be sure you go hang out there tomorrow night and definitely be there on February 15th. The Hodge Pack crew will be there, and Josh will be singing along. So, be good stuff. For around here, Outlaws and Legends kind of a Super Bowl for musical events here in Abilene, but the Super Bowl is happening in New Orleans. The Big Easy, again, they gave out the awards last night. Josh Allen is your MVP. Saquon Barkley won Offensive Player of the Year, and he's probably going to have to be that. So, Josh, you created a rundown and talked about storylines. What are the storylines you're looking for? Super Bowl 59, opportunity for, before and after we get a little bit, I've got some trivia for you. But what are you looking for the Super Bowl 59, Misty?
I think you just said it. Saquon is going to have the game of his life or very close to it. And so it's going to be interesting to see if he can penetrate through the Chiefs defense, because it's going to be tough. And so that's definitely something I'm looking for. And the Eagles defense is definitely no slouch. And so I think they're going to pressure Mahomes, and he's going to have to be running around and scrambling, which he excels in that. But I'm just looking forward to seeing this, rematch from a couple of years ago, whenever the Chiefs won. So I cannot obviously go for the Eagles because I hate that team so bad. And I don't know if y'all remember at the beginning of the year when we made our Super Bowl predictions, I said that the Chiefs were looking at a three-peat. So I got that part right. It's not what I wanted to happen, but it is what I thought.
Did you have the Lions
happen
on the NFC side?
Yeah. And so, but I would not be shocked if the three-peat happens. But yeah, and I'm fine with that because I'm not going to root for the Eagles.
Josh?
It's a tough one for me. It's a culmination of sports hate, and I don't know how to handle it. I'm not excited about watching it because I know I'm going to be what's the correct word?
I know
angry at whoever wins.
I know your hatred toward the Eagles, and it makes sense. Is your hatred toward the Chiefs because of the success or because it's not your team?
Like I said before, if it's not your team, you should hate dynasties. You should absolutely hate it with every fiber of your being because it's not your team. And if you jump on a bandwagon for some sort of dynasty, I question whether you even care about whatever team it is that you say you follow. It's a lack of moral fortitude. It's being principleless with no rudder, floating down the river, waiting for ESPN to tell you what team you should cheer for. And for all of you out there in Hodgeland that fall into that category, may God have mercy on your soul.
So, obviously you're going for the Chiefs because you hate the Eagles more than the Chiefs.
You can't go
for anybody.
I cannot go for either team.
You're going for your squares?
Well, if I had squares, I guess I'd gamble against myself and I'd lose.
Do you want an entertaining game?
Well, yes. And there are things that I'm looking forward to finding out. Like how much more are the refs going to help Mahomes get to his three-peat? We need to find that out. That's something that the whole world wants to know. I don't know what the prop is on Taylor Swift references, but take the over. And I don't know, Saquon Barkley is very good, and I think that he's he has a chance to be the difference in this game, which would be good. So I think
he's going to have to be.
I can be entertained by good football, and aside from like the what I've said about all of this, I do think that these teams are good and deserving teams to be there. It's not like some random fluke like the Giants making to the Super Bowl after they were only won 9 games in the regular season, but
and then won it all.
Right? Yeah. Any given Sunday.
Yeah, fluke.
Twice.
But Patrick Mahomes is very good, entertaining to watch. So I do think it has some entertainment value, but there is no possible outcome that I leave satisfied.
Right. Well, here are my 5 scenarios, and one I think we could come back and talk about it on. Here are my storylines. Three-peat, if the Chiefs don't do it, who will? Because they're the first ones ever to get back to 3 in a row, and now a chance to win it. And if they don't do it, when will it happen again? And that's one of the things that you talk about pressure. If you don't get it done, now you've got to start that whole record player over again next year to try to do 3 in a row. The other is, can Jalen Hurts outplay Mahomes again for the second Super Bowl? Because if you remember, except for like one fumble, he pretty much outplayed Mahomes in the last Super Bowl. And a bad holding penalty, I say bad timely called, could go a lot of ways, was called in that Super Bowl. Saquon, you mentioned it, Misty, somebody last night, Brian Dawkins, thanked the Giants for letting him go and bringing him to there. Sirianni, does he go from, do we even want to keep this guy to a Super Bowl champion? And I wrote this down, officiating, every call will be scrutinized either way. Whether it goes against the Eagles or goes against the Chiefs, will it be over non-homered if they called something against the Chiefs, all vice versa there. And I typed this up, and then I'm going to give you the question. We'll give you a trivia question. If Mahomes and the Chiefs win their 3rd in a row, does he become Michael Jordan level as the greatest in making Tom Brady now Bill Russell? And the reason I say that, Bill Russell won 10 world championships as a player. More than anybody, more than Jordan. Jordan won 6, 3 in a row, took a break, 3 in a row. The greatest of all time is Michael Jordan. What does that do to the GOAT status for Mahomes if he wins what nobody else has done 3 in a row? Is he still needing to wait to get the torch, or is he starting to gradually grab the torch for Tom Brady as the greatest of all time?
I do not think that Patrick Mahomes is the greatest of all time if he wins this or not. I think that is going to be a while before he catches Tom Brady because of obviously the number of rings that Tom Brady has. So to me, my opinion on that is that he might be on his way, but he is not right now.
Will he have to win more than 7 to be the greatest of all time?
I mean, yeah, if that's what we're saying, if the man is all of these Super Bowls, well, then you got to beat the man, and that's Tom Brady. It's not Patrick Mahomes right now.
But Bill Russell is won 10.
Okay, well, but you're crossing sports. You've already made it perfectly stated on the record that the only qualification for being a good quarterback is winning the Super Bowl. So,
right.
If in order for him to be the GOAT, in your Eli Manning's a Hall of Famer argument, he has to have 8 to be better than Tom Brady.
And that's why I said, if you're saying Super Bowl
I don't
is
necessarily agree with that.
then
but,
he's not the greatest of all time.
So you're putting, I'm not disagreeing with, I'm not putting the fact that just Eli won 2 Super Bowls. I need to look and see how many division titles he'd won and all those things. I'm not saying Trent Dilfer and Russell Wilson are on the same wavelength as Eli Manning. I'm not saying
Russell Wilson has led the league in quarterback rating. He's had more MVP votes than Eli Manning. Eli Manning never led the league as a quarterback in QBR or.
We need to look at that. I don't know if Russell Wilson's ever gotten an MVP vote. I know he's not ever won it. Because I remember there was a debate.
I know that he led the league in QBR. Eli Manning never did such a thing.
But you think both.
If we're basing it off of Super Bowl wins for the greatest of all time, then no, Patrick Mahomes has a lot of ground to make up before he's the GOAT. Tom Brady will hold that record and be the GOAT for many, many years to come. So no, I say that no, Patrick Mahomes, although a great, talented quarterback, he is no Tom Brady because of the success Tom Brady has had regarding Super Bowls.
Does the success help that? And they're pretty similar. Now you take away Travis Kelce, and I guess you'd have to take away Tyreek Hill. I think this Super Bowl may be as impressive as any if you were to win it, more than even last year.
I mean, yeah, no, and if they can do
Because
the
it's
three-peat,
3 in a row,
yeah.
and so that's why I wonder if because again, it's something that nobody's done.
Could Patrick Mahomes go to another franchise and win, and he leaves the Chiefs after this, could he win next year at any other place?
I think it'd have to be the right spot. I mean,
But I mean,
uh,
to me, that's very impressive to leave and then go to Tampa Bay. I mean,
but I think a lot of that was what he created, and you're seeing that at Sanford. You're seeing that at Kansas City
but
now.
could Patrick Mahomes do that?
I think you could, because I think you would see similar to what happened to, because you have to look, Tom Brady did win a Super Bowl, but also you have Leonard Fournette that came. You had Rob
Oh, you've got to
Gronkowski
have the
came.
weapons. I mean, the stars align, but.
People came with Tom to Tampa.
But would you agree that that's very impressive to leave
Oh,
and to go the next year and win a Super Bowl?
The World Championship, the NBA title that impressed me more than anything about LeBron was the one he won when he came back to Cleveland. All the other ones didn't impress me. The ones with the Heat didn't impress me. The one with the Lakers, a little bit impressive because they had to do it in the bubble. The one that he won in Cleveland's one that impressed me. So to me, and now Andy Reid has already said he's coming back next year. I think as big of a question from a standpoint of franchises and all that will be Mahomes is going to play a lot longer than Andy Reid coaches. So when Andy Reid leaves, the new coach that comes in, I think, is going to be the equivalent of a franchise change. When Andy Reid retires, let's say they win it this year, and then they go to try to maybe go for a forfeit. I don't see Andy Reid obviously coaching as long as Mahomes plays. And I don't think I could see Mahomes not doing and having to do, and I don't see the Chiefs treating Mahomes like the Patriots treated Brady. We're like, okay, we're done. We're going to move on and see what happens. I don't see that happening with Mahomes. I see Mahomes staying put. I see the Chiefs making sure he stays, all that. When Andy Reid retires, that's going to be the equivalent of a franchise change, because can whoever comes in replace the man that created the culture that's created 4 Super Bowl wins, possibly, when it's all said and done.
So if they're tied and they have the same amount of rings, but Patty does it the whole time at the Chiefs. So they've got the same number of rings, but Patty did it at the same place. Brady obviously left and did it. Who's the GOAT?
If Mahomes has 7?
Yeah, like if they're
Well, I
tied
think a
up.
lot of it depends on, we're going to go to commercial. All right, here's my trivia question for you. Okay, you ready? Trivia question, no Googling.
Let me state for the record, Russ Wilson has not received an MVP vote.
Okay. All right, Mahomes and Hurt are the 4th Super Bowl quarterback rematch. Can you name the other 3? When we come back, we'll test Josh and Misty's knowledge. No Google.
Ooh, yeah, I'm gonna fail this.
Eli Manning and Tom Brady.
What?
Eli Manning. He said Eli Manning and Tom Brady.
You're on the right track.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, we need to have this discussion in there. Like, how y'all just remember stuff like that. Yeah, that I do not. I don't even remember what I ate for lunch yesterday.
Just look at Eli Manning's Pro Football Reference page. It's a bucket of mediocrity.
Ay, ay, ay.
How many times did the Steelers play the Cowboys?
Oh, that could be a.
Staubach and Bradshaw?
I literally, like, I do not know. Do not know.
4. This will be the 4th, or there's 4, and this is the 5th.
We're the fourth.
You're the 4th, so there's
There's
3.
3 for you to guess. There are 3 for you to guess. And then Super Bowl party, you think next, Josh?
It's,
The lighting in here is so bad.
the lighting,
Yes,
no, we brought that fancy light.
I know.
You
Since,
just need to run a little,
Yeah.
put it right there. on this side
that
of
would
the
be
door.
better.
What's that?
Plug it, if we just get a little extension to go on this, would be
For what?
to put our little halo light thing up, and make
Mhm.
better photos.
I will,
But yeah, that'd be good.
Jim Kelly lost 4 Super Bowls. Is he ever repeat any of those against anybody? I can't remember.
Like, I don't even, and I'm looking at our picture, just so you know, I'm not Googling. Like, I have no idea.
Oh, really?
Like, this is, I would not get I'm not gonna know any of this. Just so you know.
stealing this from Greeny and, Himbo from,
What is that?
what?
What kind of animal is that?
Oh,
Where was that?
Where's that?
at the zoo.
South of the dog kennel?
Yeah, they were sleeping.
Is that wrong? Now, if Hodge says it is, it must be right.
That's exactly right. If I
Eli.
said it was, Eli Manning, not elected to the Hall of Fame. Another one I do think, and it wears me out, he won 3 Super Bowls, if that really does still matter. Darren Woodson's got to be a Hall of Famer. I know there's some Cowboy bias in that, but Darren Woodson has to be a Hall of Famer. Welcome back to the Hodge Pack Sports Live and everything in between as we get ready for your Super Bowl weekend, the big game, number 59 in New Orleans. Remember one of the last times New Orleans had it, they had a little outage, a little power outage when the
Oh, yeah.
Ravens and 49ers, the Harbaugh Super Bowl, the Ravens winning that one. Before we left, I gave Misty and Josh a question. This week again, Chiefs, Eagles. Chiefs trying to create history. The Eagles, and I'll ask the same questions. We're hearing a lot during the week here in a moment, but I got a trivia question for them. This is the 4th matchup, Mahomes and Hurts. Jalen Hurts playing against each other for the 2nd time in the Super Bowl. It's happened 3 other times. Josh, Misty, group trivia. We're taking ideas kind of like what Greeny and them do. But Himbo, give me the other 3.
Like, can we phone a friend?
Yeah, I was thinking hard about this during the break, and, I didn't pick up my phone for fear of being accused and possibly actually cheating. I really don't know, because I was trying to think about, the first thing I thought was did Bradshaw and Staubach play each other more than once?
That's for you and Misty to
Well,
guess.
I mean,
Okay, I'm like, are the
like,
Cowboys
the Cowboys
involved?
and the Steelers were
Can we have that hint? Are the
were
Cowboys involved?
rivals in the 70s.
The only hint, the hint I'm going to give you, one is obvious.
Is it?
Yes.
Yes, it's Eli and Tom Brady.
Ding, 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 ding,
I mean, I
ding,
knew
ding.
that when
Yeah,
I said that right when we went
Yeah,
to break.
yeah.
It was the other that
That is right. Eli Manning against Tom Brady. Both times he played against the GOAT, he won 2 Super Bowls.
Still not a Hall of Famer, but we're moving on.
He is. That's an accurate statement because he did not get in for
He is still
2025.
not a Hall of
He's
Famer.
still not a Hall of Famer.
You're correct on that one. I'm really having a hard time with I know it will be. You will tell me the answer here in a little bit after making me suffer through this, and I'll be like,
Are the Redskins involved?
No.
it's apparently against giving hints.
You said no to that. We don't know.
I'm saying you are all over it on the things that you have said. You are all over it.
Well, put us out of our misery and just tell us.
You're way warm on what you were saying. You are extremely warm.
Did we say the Cowboys and the Steelers?
Yes, you did.
Okay, Cowboys and Steelers.
I need names of quarterbacks.
Oh,
Bradshaw and Stallback.
Ding, ding, ding,
Okay,
ding,
I
ding,
thought
ding,
I
ding, 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 ding.
said I thought that. but
Yes,
no, I
that's-
didn't-
that's-
I guess
yeah,
I didn't
that-
actually give the
That's
answer.
that's the other two: Eli Manning, Tom Brady, Roger Staubach, and Terry Bradshaw.
And so there's one more.
There is one more. It would be. I'll give this one. That's fine. One more hint. It would be your dream Super Bowl.
the Lions and the Bills.
Lions have never made it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, duh, we're going back in time. Blonde moment.
It would be your.
The Bills and the Cowboys.
Okay.
Who
I need
were
quarterbacks.
I couldn't remember if that was the first two or not.
Well, the first two were Bradshaw and Starbuck.
Yeah, so it was Aikman and Kelly.
Aikman and Kelly.
There you
Ding,
go.
ding, ding,
I
ding,
couldn't
ding. There you
remember
go.
that
Yeah.
second
Yeah.
year if that was, because Frank
Yeah.
Reich was in there at some point, and I didn't know what happened. with
Well, and
Right.
so, yeah, Frank Reich he led them past the Oilers in the great comeback, but then Kelly ended up,
Kelly
yeah.
was back for the Super Bowl. Okay,
Yeah.
that's what confused
So, yeah,
me.
so this is the fourth time that the quarterback matchups have occurred in the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts this time, Roger Staubach and Terry Bradshaw, Eli Manning, well, it'd been Aikman and Jim Kelly, and then, of course, Eli and Tom Brady twice.
That's a hard one.
Well, and I'll tell you, and it's fun, and we may start doing that. I like the trivia, different ones, just kind of working together on that. But one of the things that they were talking about on Unsportsmanlike, again, who do you think there's more pressure on? The Eagles winning the one that they need to, Sirianni getting back, Jalen Hurts, or is the more pressure being the three-peat champion?
Three-peat champion.
There's definitely more pressure on the three-peat champ.
But they talked about how the only quarterback that, we can throw this trivia out, that had been to multiple Super Bowls that finally went back to one and won, there's only been one. And that's John Elway. Because the Broncos, back in Carl Mecklenburg's day, they lost 3 Super Bowls, and then finally came back around in 96, 97, and John Elway won 2 Super Bowls. Jalen Hurts is going back to his second Super Bowl, different time frame, and if you don't, how hard it is that we see to get back to the Super Bowl. Now, for the Chiefs, they may not win a third one tomorrow in a row, their fourth in this era, 5th of all time. They may not win that. But the thought process for most people are they'll probably be right back there next year with a chance to win it. I mean, they don't know anything but AFC championships and the occasional miss with Joe Burrow Super Bowl. But for guys like Philadelphia, and we're seeing that with Detroit, will Detroit bounce back and continue to escalate, or are they going to drop? Is that pressure of, in Eli, I know I keep bringing up Eli, but he talked about it. He thinks it is on the three-peat more than the other.
Well, and I think if you remember back to the Cowboys in the 90s, they won 2 Super Bowls in a row against the Bills. Then they lost in the conference championship game
Because
to the 49ers.
But was that not the first year Jimmy was gone?
Yes,
Yeah.
but so there's just I was just thinking about just the pressure of even like getting back to the Super Bowl is a lot. It's just, and that run with the Cowboys where Super Bowl, NFC Championship loss, Super Bowl win. That was obviously a big deal. And so just you can't take for granted, I guess, is the whole point of that you're just going to get back there, even though it does seem with the Chiefs that they just keep getting back there.
And again, I go back to you people like Dan Marino. Year 2 goes, never again. And that's why I said Joe Burrow possibly could be year 2, or not year 2, goes, never goes again. because it is so hard to get there, and there is some accomplishment in getting there. And then you have Cam Newton, who says he would not give up his MVP for a Super Bowl. I'm like, yes, you would. You say that because there's no chance for you to go back to another one.
Or you're just an extremely selfish person. I mean, like,
Which is a
Both,
possibility.
yeah. I think he's both.
But you know, because I've talked about this a lot, and this is one of those, you know, hills that I like to take a stand on. Going back, because, you know, like I said, I don't like dynasties unless they're my team. But you go back to, we've talked about where Mahomes is and how many he has to win. Troy Aikman had 3 Super Bowl wins in the first half of his career and never went back. You know,
Who's that?
Troy Aikman.
Yeah.
You know, so at some point you could have been thinking, how many is Troy Aikman going to get? Is he going to get 4? Is he going to get 5? You know, nope. Like, the debacle just started and it's still going on. You know, but that goes back to why I think you have no soul if you cheer for a dynasty that's not your team.
But
Getting worse.
But you know, the other thing I think you look at this is, yes, you've got Mahomes who's been there. You've got Andy Reid, Steve Spagnuolo. You've got even Matt Nagy. You've got coaching staffs that have been there. But you have a lot of guys that have been added to this team, like Hollywood Brown, DeAndre Hopkins, Juju Smith-Schuster, who's back. You've got guys that are back that they're having to experience this for the first time maybe, and how do you get them ready to do so? But I think the history pressure from the Chiefs, but I will say this, in their defense, they had the same pressure against Josh Allen. We got to beat him for a 4th time in the playoffs, and they got it done.
Right, because it would have been very similar to the Cowboys situation that they lost in the championship game. You know, like, you're right there, close game, you know, can't make it back. And they were a few plays away from that being reality, you know, so which is really the way any championship game should be, in my opinion. I mean, I like watching playoff football that is just a couple of plays one way or the other that changes the outcome of the game. You know, so and I guess in the scheme of things, that is what I hope to see in the Super Bowl, and I expect to see. You know,
and again, you mentioned it, and I think both of you mentioned it, that there's you, Josh, that these 2 teams deserve to be there.
Right. There's no controversy of like.
Could there, and I would say if the Bills, obviously if they beat the Chiefs, rightfully so. I don't think in the NFC, as far as good teams, and again, going on Dan Campbell stuff, he unfortunately was very shorthanded when it came to the defensive side of personnel. But the Eagles basically showed that they are the best team in that conference. The Chiefs, until to beat the man, you got to beat the man. Until they do that, have shown. So I feel like we got the best Super Bowl that you could ask for Sunday when it comes to, you're going to have a great defense with Jalen Carter trying to stop, like you mentioned, Misty, trying to stop Mahomes, and can they find a way to?
They're going to have to.
And then can Spagnuolo find a way to make Jalen Hurts beat you and not Saquon Barkley? And Saquon Barkley, you've played in a lot of big games, but you've not played in this one.
Right.
And can you be ready for it?
And to your point, and I think that this is very much the case where, like I said, these 2 teams deserve to be there. I think if the Bills would have won that game last week, you would have thought the same thing. There's those things about Super Bowls, World Series, you know, I guess NBA Finals. I don't pay as much attention to the road to getting there, but. You know, like when the Rangers won the World Series, when it was the Rangers versus the Diamondbacks, there was a lot of general consternation from the overall sports public, you know, that these 2 teams kind of limped into the playoffs and then ended up being in the World Series. Now, as a Rangers fan, I take that World Series and run with it. You know, I don't think that there's any shame in it at all. But you had that, but as you mentioned with Eli Manning, he led 2 Super Bowl winning teams that were teams that like were scratching and clawing to even make the wild card, and then ended up winning the Super Bowl. And in those instances, I think you kind of can have a letdown. It's like it wasn't that's not the best team. They just played the best at the right time, and I think that's kind of a different outlook versus this year, because the NFC was maligned this year.
Oh, yeah.
Like
The front runner was even, and it took the Eagles a little bit to get to that front runner position.
Right.
Because everybody was so focused on your Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
That
And
they
the Eagles didn't have a good start.
Right.
I mean, they really had to get going.
Right. And the Lions obviously had injury problems that I do think that they were probably in that category of a truly good team that was moving forward. We talked about the Vikings all year, how I thought it was mirage, but their record looked good, but I never thought that was like a world-beating team.
Well, and I know we got to do a commercial. We're going to come back and get you ready for Super Bowl parties and all those things. But it was almost very similar to the college basketball. The leader in the clubhouse of the NFC bounced around, because there were times they thought, man, you know what? Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers might be good enough. Because going into the year was a little bit of Eagles maybe, but nobody was really sure about the Eagles because how bad they ended last year.
Right.
But all the focus was on, will Brock Purdy be able to still
Yes,
lead?
the 49ers were still like
Yes.
the
The hot team. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they obviously flopped.
Yeah,
Right.
that was terrible.
So when we come back, we'll give you our picks. We think we already know those because we kind of already given because we hate the Eagles. And we'll be back and get you ready for the weekend.
But to that point, the teams that were in at the end for the AFC were all the teams that everyone said were going to be at the first year.
All 4 of them.
Like, it was just like this.
Because the Chiefs had to beat who to go?
Well, the Texans,
But a lot of people thought
that, but
would
The Texans could have won that game.
well, but a lot of people wondered would the Texans keep going?
Mhm.
Because CJ Stroud and the Texans were what the Commanders Redskins were this year.
yeah,
Would they keep going? And that's the same question. Will Jaden Daniels and Dan Quinn build off of this or start to flow back down?
Yeah.
not sweaty.
He got all hot and
I
bothered.
got sweaty.
Sweaty.
I condemn part of the listening audience. So,
You did. Basically, they have no soul. Okay,
what is that sound?
Is it a part coming? I'm gonna unplug this and just leave it in the corner, I guess.
Somebody rolling something, or is it actually raining?
It sounds like a part.
At first I was like, is it raining? It can't be raining. No, it's somebody pulling the car. Dude, it's super loud.
Morning, Moy. Connie, David. Who's singing the national anthem? No, Kendrick Lamar is the halftime. I don't know who that is. That was probably cool.
Kendrick Lamar, he is a rapper
Mhm.
and has some beef with Drake.
That's what
and
I saw,
then
something about he and Drake are
He
having
won
problems.
all 5 of the Grammys. I think he was nominated for 5, and I think it was sweet. Did you see Beyonce won Best Country
Yeah,
Album
I had a
of the
problem with
Year?
that.
Yeah, I think everybody did. She did too. Did you see her face when she got announced?
Best country album.
Uh-huh.
Everyone just decided to do country all of a sudden.
Here's her face. I was gonna send this quick, like, oh, what's happening? But that's like her face from the, I don't know what's happening.
My phone is stuck.
Yeah, it says, me acting surprised when my husband says we got another package. It's like, I need to send that to Clay.
The Amazon guy stops at your house a lot?
Yes. I've been doing better.
Amazon guy stops at my house a lot too. Only one time did I pound the table today, Hodge.
That was impressive. Well, welcome back to the Hodge Pack Sports Live and everything in between as we get ready to send you into the weekend, Super Bowl weekend. Hope you find a place to watch it with some people. Good times. Well, again, we appreciate Coach Keith Patterson and Graham Harrell joining us this morning in our Toast Live studio to talk ACU football, recruiting class. John Batista, Moy said, is singing the national anthem tomorrow.
You just said that out of nowhere, and I'm like, what?
We appreciate people watching and listening on our
In
Facebook Live
mid-sentence,
and YouTube.
John Batista.
Well, and I guess I don't know if I said that right. Moy will tell me. But yeah, they're tomorrow, and then Kendrick Lamar, right? Correct, is doing that.
Yes.
So yeah, I don't know a whole lot of Kendrick Lamar stuff. So as the Super Bowl is here, 59. It's crazy. Next year will be 60 out in Santa Clara. Will be out where the 49ers play next year. One of the Super Bowl commercials have kind of become like Black Friday in that used to you didn't know they were happening until they happened.
Right,
But now it's like they leak them out, and they'll do some that like, oh, this one, like David Beckham's trying to find his twin brother or something. He's going to reveal it on Sunday. Little disappointed that that's the route of the commercials now.
Oh, yeah. It's just like, meh.
Well,
It's not what it used to be.
It's not, but you know, the thing that I read something about this recently with the way that just trends in general have gone. You actually now can reach Super Bowl levels of audience through like X.
Yeah, so why would you pay millions of dollars?
You could get those views, you can make those short videos, commercials, post, put it out on Instagram and X and whatever else.
TikTok.
And actually reach more people for far less money.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so they're now making these campaigns that are combining those Super Bowl ads with their social media that they've already are working on. So it's just, I guess, trying to, you know, synergize that effort. But it's just kind of funny to think about.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need, in the modern times with the way that things are, you do not need that ultimate drop Super Bowl commercial to start the buzz that you needed.
Yeah, you can basically lead up to it. But anyway, you know, I just remember Clydesdales were always a thing, and Doritos and all that. But commercials will be a big deal. Of course, the big thing is being somewhere where you can actually hear them and all that. But sometimes that's a Super Bowl.
Unless you're by yourself in your living room, not possible.
that is a challenge. But Super Bowl again Sunday. What are some must-haves at the Super Bowl party?
Oh, you've got to have good food. Like the queso has to be there.
Queso, that is a must.
Yeah, queso, like chips and dips.
Those are must. You got to be able to have, and I think it's got to be something where it's got overall easy to eat in any posture is important. If I've got it.
I agree, but you know, it's not a good finger food if you don't have a risk of getting some of it on your shirt.
Yeah, I like a good slider.
That's like, yeah.
Like a little.
Like little bit greasy, you know, queso.
I think wings, either form, if you're a traditional or a boneless person.
Yeah, chicken nuggets or wings.
Chicken nuggets, yeah.
Little dino nuggets.
Little dino nuggies.
I do think
some barbecue sauce.
or maybe some honey mustard, but I do think that is or ranch for most of them. Really, the nugget is more for honey mustard. The wing, I want ranch.
Yeah,
because you got something else on the wing.
Right.
I mean,
you're bringing sauces together. What I don't,
Sauces unite.
what I don't like is, are you a blue cheese guy?
I mean,
So I was,
I've dabbled.
first of all, get blue. Number two, I was at an event the other day and it had blue cheese was the only option. I'm like, how is ranch not the ranch? And then we might have something else.
Yeah, ranch
No.
still dominates.
Both blue cheese. And then we went, then the same group of people had another event and it was blue cheese and 1,000 Island.
For dipping.
It was salad dressing. It was salad, not wings.
Oh, yeah,
not
those
wings,
are
not
both
wings.
terrible choices.
Yeah,
I was
fan.
like, you dip.
I mean, I could see like
Yeah.
ranch in Italian or something, but man, yeah.
Yeah.
Or like some balsamic
I
vinaigrette.
do like a nice vinaigrette, but
You sounded like so like, I do like a nice vinaigrette.
You sounded like you never had
like
supper.
little bougie.
I've never.
It sounded like you only had dinner, not supper.
Yeah, you did.
But I need a special fork for my salad. Or I can't eat.
Oh, now who's the
Um,
bougie one?
I can assure you, Josh has his table setting just perfect.
Blue cheese, though, if like if you get into that, the thing is that I've learned about blue cheese is some blue cheese dressings are very similar to ranch to the point where you almost couldn't tell the difference. You know, like, and some are like, whoa,
Yeah.
just that's I don't
It's
know.
like fish. If it's too fishy, I can't do it.
Right,
Yeah, I know what you're saying. It's like some is a little bit more like potent.
right. But as far as like Super Bowl parties, there obviously just has to be a spread of food. It has to be different kind of things, some here and there, some random snack. It's kind of like Thanksgiving, where there's that one thing that someone brought, you're like, I'm not really sure what that is. Like if you don't have that, you're not doing it
I
right.
need sweets too. Like I
Oh,
need
yeah, there's
like
not-
some little
there's not-
brownie bites. I've got to have like
Well, you
Something
gotta have
sweet.
something that, because in today's time, you gotta have something that hopefully nobody goes not eating.
Oh, well, right, but there's
Now-
there's some people are more particular than others.
Yeah, and they normally know they are and bring their own.
And here's the other thing.
Yes,
If you're
like Hodge
hosting,
bringing bagel bites.
if you were hosting, yeah,
Which,
a Super Bowl
which is
party,
fantastic, by the way.
and
Very,
you have a 32-inch TV, I'm not coming. Like, do not be the
Noted.
host of a Super Bowl party if your TV is small. That's all I'm saying. Just PSA.
Size matters.
Size does matter. You
That's-
cannot host a party if
Missy,
you
I
have
mean,
a
that's
tiny
probably,
TV.
I mean, we've not done, knowing is half the battle in some time, but that's pretty
But
accurate.
how bad is that when like your friend has
Well, but I think,
like a tiny
but I
TV? You're
think-
like, bro, what
but-
are we doing?
but I think in the 32-inch TV world, it's doable if you're not expecting a big crowd.
No, it's not. It's the
No,
Super Bowl,
I'm-
baby.
I'm
It
on
needs
her
to be
side.
at
Yeah.
least.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go 55 inches plus. Like
No.
if it's less than
Yeah.
that, I mean, I would really want 65, but
The,
I could
uh,
settle for 55.
the-
Is what I'm saying.
One thing that I did do at one point, long time ago, for a Super Bowl party, is I went to the local Aaron's Rent to Own, and I rented a giant, like, you have to put it in the back of your pickup. This was back in the day,
Oh yeah,
on wheels, big screen TV for 1 week.
and this is why we're friends because he
Um,
gets it.
Yeah, I
Rented
mean,
it for 1 week.
You
Yeah.
have
Took
to have
it,
a
put
big
it in my
TV.
living room, loaded it up, and took it back.
Yeah.
Because at that time, I was.
Toasty
probably-
Live has a large TV covered, Misty.
Yeah,
They do,
yeah, Toasty
and
Live has a
Toasty Live
giant-
nails
giant
it.
TV.
And
They do have
That's
giant
exactly what
TVs,
Moy just said, and we'll obviously have the game on.
and they get it. That's what I'm saying. You cannot have small TVs. You just can't. It's
Yeah.
sports. Nobody wants to be squinting. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, we all are not cheering for the Eagles. We got about 20 seconds. Final score, Misty, go.
24-21 Chiefs.
24-21. I like that. I'll say 28-24.
Yeah. Okay. KC? You going KC?
I guess.
Yeah, he has to.
I mean, I thought you were.
Yeah. I'm going to Kansas City, down 4, needs a touchdown. Mahomes cements
Officials make it
gravy.
happen.
the Submit's greatness. Final score 32-28 Chiefs. Well, we hope you have a great Thanksgiving. And we hope you have a great Thanksgiving in November. Well, we hope you have a fantastic Super Bowl. Again, thank you to Coach Keith Patterson and Coach Graham Harrell for joining us this morning. May your Super Bowl parties be great. May your TVs be big. We'll have a Super Bowl champion next week. History made or history broken? We'll let you know next Friday on the Hodge Pack, Sports Life, and everything in between.
Oh, that was good. I mean, but wouldn't you love to